When last we left our fearless explorers, they had completed that adventure. They had recovered some data from the Rulik mediocrity, and more importantly, they had captured a ship. Because one of the ships that routinely tries to shoot them down every time they go out into the galaxy had followed them and had blown up their crashed ship and had landed. They should have just left, but they landed, and the party had beat them up and taken their ship. So they were flying home in a ship that was not their own, and I whipped up a layout for it. So we're doing Space Alert, but with a different ship. And I whipped it up. I was kind of thinking about balance a little bit, but not really. So I was like, let's see what happens. The ship design had a central core that was, the white zone was 3 levels tall instead of 2. And the red and blue zones on either side was just 1 level. So it was more of a cross-shaped thing. It had one big reactor in the center that could feed everything, instead of the several smaller reactors that transfer energy around. It didn't have as much weaponry, so it was weaker. Its pulse cannons did more damage, however. And it had a couple of special pieces of gear. It had, instead of the screensaver, it had a self-destruct mechanism that was constantly counting down. But you could push a reset button to reset the countdown.
Which makes sense, because those guys seem to be pretty kamikaze in their nature, so it's just, if we all get killed on the ship, it blows up, right? Because someone's got to press the don't self-destruct button every minute.
Yeah. It also had a hyper boost, which nobody used, so it doesn't matter. And it had a intruder purge system. Which
nobody used, but it would have saved our butts.
It would have saved our butts. Spoiler, their butts were not saved. It was close, though. Their butts just slipped off the edge. Anyway, the intruder purge system basically tasers the whole ship. It does damage to all intruders that are on board the ship, but also delays everyone a turn because they all have to jump up on chairs to avoid it.
Or get zapped.
Or get zapped.
Either way,
yeah,
you're delayed a turn.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to remember now the details of what went down because I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention.
Yeah, it was clear pretty quickly that this ship was worse than our ship as far as capabilities, which makes sense. We blow these ships up every time, right?
Almost every time.
There was a few deficiencies that made it really tough, and specifically in the red zone and white zone, there was no upper and lower. There was just one, which meant that you couldn't combine fire, which meant that in any threats in the red and blue zone, were way more difficult because your maximum amount of firepower you could fire in a given turn was much lower. So there was a lot of hiddling, like 1 damage per turn against these threats. The white zone, meanwhile, was not too bad, but we got both an energy cloud and a maelstrom, which are the things that drain the shields. Those are both, though, vulnerable when you hit them with the pulse cannon. I'm the pulse cannon gunner, so I had the special ability, so we used those to our advantage and hammered those guys, and we actually did. I was amazed how well we did, but we did a couple things. One thing, the saboteur got on, and the only way to kill the serious threat in blue was for Tim to fire on blue right away. And the saboteur moves super quickly, so we just had to make the decision, screw it. The saboteur is just going to get away with it, because we can't, otherwise the serious threat's going to kill us.
Right.
So we just let the saboteur get away with it, which if we had somehow used the intruder purge on them or something, though another internal threat came later, and so those two added together in the white zone. We were doing super well, but the thing that ultimately got us was we got a serious threat right at the end in blue. And it was super hard to kill things in blue. We'd already blown all of our rockets, and I was hammering on the pulse gun, which helped, but ultimately what happened was we took a little bit of damage in blue, just a little bit, and it took out our gun. And our gun was reduced in its damage. And as a result, we
shy.
Yeah, as a result, we did not kill the serious threat by 1 point. And it came in, and its damage combined with the damage of the saboteur and the other internal threat that we should have zapped, and took us over the limit by 1 damage in the blue zone. Or no, it was the white zone. Doesn't matter because it damaged all zones.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, I don't remember. But yeah, so
I think it was one of the side zones that
we actually, like, at the beginning of the mission, I thought we were toast.
Yeah.
By the end, I thought we had just squeaked it through, and I was like, yes, we're just gonna make it. And then, like, at the very end, we just barely didn't make it, which sucked because we were flying home with, like, this alien tech ship that would have been, like, giving us so much credit at the academy, but instead it blew up.
So what happened?
Right, the white zone blew up. That's right, because it broke apart because it was like a central core and had these two voluptuous orbs, and the orbs survived, but the central core blew up.
Right.
Yeah. And it was funny because if they had survived, I was going to have whoever happened to be at the comm station would have to try and convince the Earth forces not to shoot them down. And that would have been Dr. Yoon.
Yeah.
Because she'd been at the comm station doing a bunch of that. But
Not
I mean,
self-destructing thing.
yeah. But, you know, since the ship blew up anyway, it was moot. So didn't worry about that.
What happens after your ship blows up?
Yeah.
Everyone crawls out of the wreckage.
Yeah, you survive. So there is a place. The place we land is called Crater Lake.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I see.
And so you land in the lake. I mean, usually our stuff has like our normal ships have stuff to protect us. I assume the kamikaze ship probably doesn't, but maybe we just, I don't know. We somehow survived.
Yeah.
We jumped out. But
Maybe they're personal rescue devices.
yeah. So
you wear a belt and then
and the crews are, when you're landing, the crews are all just standing by at the edge of Crater Lake to pull you out because so far we haven't had many successful landings. We've been getting better, but
the sitting duck class crashes a lot of the time.
So far
they have double-digit success rates.
So far the curse of Tim continues though, because we basically
every time he plays.
Yeah, basically we did a bunch of practicing because we were just so bad, and we got good enough that we could actually succeed.
Yeah.
And we played a couple of things during the mission that Tim was GM, and we waxed all those. And then since Tim rejoined us as a player, it's been constant failure. But I like to say that though, really, I mean, Tim has been on internal threats, like he's done a good job of that. It's just.
Other than that darn saboteur.
Well, he was like, no, I can't help you to do that. I'm like, no, you press A. Because otherwise we die. I don't care about the saboteur. So he did what I said, and that was the right choice. We would have died more if he hadn't listened to me.
So how
So you smash into Earth.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So the party has returned home.
They land in the crater.
Yep. They didn't get to keep their captured alien ship, but the data crystals survive, and then they're taken to debriefing. And what's his name? Captain Randall...
Clancy Smythe.
Captain Clancy Smythe. First question he has for the party is, why are GBs 1 through 15 all broadcasting Space Rangers propaganda throughout the known volume of space that we've explored?
To which Flint Daniels basically was just gung-ho, like, yeah, of course they are.
Yep, he started Space Rangering up a storm.
Together we will reach the unreachable star.
So Clancy kind of rolled his eyes, and they had recovered the recordings from Lex Daberon.
Now did they take the forbidden knowledge?
No. Okay. So no epiphany. And and then Mr. Black of Human Resources took his turn to update them on the pill situation. As you recall, Lieutenant Pill didn't go on this mission. He urgently demanded that he be given vacation days
to spend time with his girlfriend in Canada.
To simulate procreation. And when they wouldn't give it to him, he gave him the slip. So Mr. Black says that, there was an epic, action movie chase sequence across the continent with their agents trying to catch up with Lieutenant Pill, and Lieutenant Pill constantly staying one step ahead of them. And finally, Pill got to the Yukon, like in Upper Canada. and launched himself somehow in a rocket, which they shot down. So Lieutenant Pill is dead. They killed him. They shot down his escape rocket. And then the party were all like, oh wow, like that. And so then Mr. Black sort of gives a little sigh and says, "So you'll be getting a new science officer. His name is Ricardo Pill. Don't let on that you can totally tell that it's Richard Pill with a false mustache glued onto his robot exoskeleton."
Does Ricardo have a Spanish accent?
He apparently wasn't he's from Mexico. He apparently wasn't on board whatever projectile it was that he launched. They shot it down, and in the wreckage they were able to tell that there were like hyperdrive coils in there, but they couldn't really tell much else. So it was something that was going to go somewhere. And so they asked the party, or Mr. Black asked the party, see if you can actually find out something about what this was all about this time. Because we don't know what that was he was trying to do.
Stop slacking.
Yeah. And so, Ricardo Pill joins the party.
Hey, but me, guys,
Yeah. No, he has no accent.
Okay.
It's just completely the same.
Right.
Except he's got a false mustache on.
All right, because he's not actually that good.
No, he's very bad. He thinks he's good, though. In his log recording, he talked about how he had successfully re-infiltrated the Corporation Incorporated exploration program. But he was also rather morose, sort of purposeless almost in his recording. He's like, I've accomplished my mission. Now there's nothing more for me officially to do, but he will carry on.
So he accomplished
Well, the party needs to find out some information about stuff to know what the heck is going on. Anyway, so we do our little level up stuff, and then we get the briefing for the next mission, which is going to be run by Robin. So, Lieutenant Chumley, the security officer.
We should stop the recording and make a new one because it's easier for the.
Oh, okay. All right.
For the guy cutting.
I was going to ask, how do the upgrades work? And
Upgrades?
yeah, what is the sort of progression that people are?
So depending on how good you do on the missions, you get academy credit, and then depending on that, you may get training or whatever. And so you could basically you can get a new strength, which just affects your skills. Space Alert has like a way of has like a level up system, so you can get one of those, or you can get a new card that you can use in combat that you basically just invent with me. So
you either get one of the heroic cards from Space Alert, or the equivalent design for
the combat. Yeah. Or a strength.
What's a strength?
It's just something a little bit freeform.
It's for so like the skill system is just sort of like
I'm good at this.
Like Lieutenant Pill, not this session but previous time he leveled up, took a strength which was he can perform feats of superhuman strength, but only when no one is looking. Because it's a secret, obviously. Because when they were on the Epiphany station with the plants and stuff, his robot suit got upgrades, so it's much stronger and more powerful now. But he needs to keep that secret, so he can't do that when anyone is witnessing his thing. I suppose if we were in a pinch and we really needed Pill to do some feat to save us all, the party could try and convince him that they're not aware of... actually, the party isn't aware of his... No, they would be because of the stories Mr. Black told them. Yeah. Okay.
Then again,
Yeah.
Ricardo Pill could just be much stronger.